What is going on, guys? Welcome to the next video, Keto for Women Phase 2, protein focused. So as we talked about in the last video, right, getting started, Phase 1, fat adaptation, we're really focused on just getting your body fat adapted. Now, something I didn't mention in that video, something to mention now, is it can take about I'd say that each phase is about 8 weeks. So 8 weeks, you really focus on fat. Don't worry about protein. Keep it at 20%. Keep carbs low. We talked about intuitive and macro ratio approaches and how to do that if you're also tracking macros and calories. So now we look at phase 2. So phase 2, you're 8 weeks in, you're fat adapted, you're feeling good, you've got energy. Now we need to bring more protein back into the fold. Protein is essential. It is essential for immune function. It is essential for making sure that you don't have muscle wasting. It's essential for building muscle in general. Like protein, amino acids specifically, that are what make up protein. Super important. So you have to try and get in enough protein. Now, good thing about being fat adapted and why we wait this long is that you're not going to really get as much of a sluggish feel when you increase protein. Whereas when you're not as fatty acid efficient, not as fat adapted, when you bring protein in too high, your body can depend on it for glucose because it's not really as efficient with fatty acids, and there seems to be a viable source of glucose by breaking down the protein. This can leave you feeling exhausted and tired. Now, after protein gets to a certain level, you will still feel that even as a fat adapted person. So it's something to be mindful of. If you're eating a lot of protein and it's making you sleepy and all this stuff, it's not necessarily because it's doing crazy things to your blood sugar. It's just exhausting. It's exhausting for your body to break all that protein down, turn it into glucose. It requires a lot of energy for your body to do that. And so a couple rules of thumb when it comes to protein. So I would say at the minimum, you need to try and eat 100 grams of protein a day. That's minimum. Like if you're not at least doing that, that is a good place to start. Outside of that, there's two other ways you can do this. You can do your ideal body weight, or you can get a DEXA and you can get your lean body mass and do 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. Either one of those options is fine. Another third bonus tip, one that I actually just found recently, and the reason why it's not one of my main ones is because I haven't used it very regularly. But you can do 1 gram per centimeter of height, right? So for example, if you're 5 foot, it's 155 centimeters, 155 grams protein. It's a little bit higher than the other averages, but it's really easy and quick. You don't have to guess a lot. You just type in your, what is my height in centimeters, and boom, grams of protein. So that one's like the easiest. Ideal body weight, best way to do that is to look at the ideal body weight ranges for your height and then just kind of land in the middle somewhere. So for example, I am around 6 foot, 5'11", and so average body weight is 180 to 200. So I sit around 185, 190 in terms of my protein goals, or my ideal body weight's like 185, 180. So I eat, it's still about the same, right? So it's a great way to do that. Now, a couple things to note is you can do plant-based proteins, but you want the more bioavailable animal-based proteins. So make sure you're getting in plenty of meat and eggs and things like that. In terms of macronutrients, the thing that you really only want to control right now is keeping carbs at 5%. Your fat's going to go down and your protein's going to shoot up a little bit. So if you're tracking, just instead of focusing on fat and protein, see the amount of calories you've been eating and raise that protein to the goal you have, and then just let the fat fall where it may in terms of your calorie requirements. Make sure you're keeping up with electrolytes. If you're eating intuitively, I always say, we talked about the 2 meals a day with more meat. Generally speaking, if you want more protein, just eat a couple leaner, like go for the New York steak, go for the 80-20 instead of the 80, or go for the 85-15 instead of the 80-20 ground beef. Do some chicken breast mixed in with your chicken thigh, or take the skin off the chicken thigh. Lower the fat content, and then add more of that leaner meat so you get a higher protein content. That's a great way to do it from an intuitive standpoint. So this phase will go for about 8 weeks, and then we'll get into phase 3, which is a more controversial phase. But if you have not already liked the video or subscribed, please do so. That way you can get notified when we go into phase 3, so you have a better idea of what to do once you're 16 weeks into Keto for Women. Thanks, y'all. Have a great day.